So we're back working on this Harley, and when we tried rushing it, I think it was like right after winter, and it was windy. We tried painting too many parts too close to each other, and the clear turned out like rough as a cob. And now I gotta sand the clear down, and there's some places where black got taken off, so he's gonna have to start back at the black and then re-clear it. Do one thing at a time, so that's, hanging from that hook up there, and then you'd have to move it in without bumping against anything. But we got too much stuff going on right now with the Oldsmobile, and this Harley is in the way now, so we just want to get the Harley done, and then we can work on the Olds.
Yeah, a lot of times these projects, you get to a point where you do something, you're not satisfied with it, then the project stalls. And
Right.
it kind of happened with this. I mean, probably 2-3 months at least.
Yeah.
And we got the frame painted. We'll take a look at that.
I'm just scuffing. It was all orange peelish, so I got to take it down. So you can see I missed a spot here, and you can see how rough the extra overspray from the other ones. This is all Bondo dust. This whole thing was, patched up with Bondo and level, blended in, and another coat of that body heavy primer. This was done too. You can even see it's kind of rough still, but just keep going down to a finer and finer grit, and the straighter it gets, the better the project.
Yeah, I'd say we blacked the other quarter out about 4 times, and it's just about where it needs to be. But this one needs to be blocked out a bunch more times. But the roof is looking good. That's getting pretty straight. I cleaned up this door jamb and shot it in epoxy primer black. I'm going to seam seal it, and we'll get the door back on here. We're going to do the same with the interior shortly, but like I said, we're going to concentrate on this bike big time. I also did the back like that, just trying to get all that seam sealer on there so we can primer over it and get it a solid color. We hammered and dollied the heck out of that quarter, and we put a skimmed coat on the inside, plus where the weld seam was.
Right, and I'm just going to rough over it, sand it smooth, and then when you spray it with that Zolo paint or spackle paint, spatter paint, whatever, it's just like when you do drywall in a house. You're trying to get a rougher texture or whatever, and then you can't tell imperfections. Well, you don't want somebody opening up, especially like my buddy did a Camaro, and you could see the overlapping where the quarter panels were welded on. You should always try to dress it up on the inside so nobody can tell any body work was done.
This trunk lid was seam sealed, and then a second coat of epoxy was put on it. I think it turned out pretty good. Same with the door.
This is a situation where I thought he was totally ridiculous, but he had to go for perfection. You could hardly tell. And a lot of times guys will put a chrome thing on here, and the corners never fit very good, and they start coming. They always shrink right in here, and they move away from the body. Well, he doesn't want to run them. And you could see like it was curved, and then it didn't follow a nice arc. But you'd really have to look at it, or somebody would have to point it out to you. Well, after all the body work was done, he decides he wants to make it a nice, smooth arch. So as you start grinding it, well, then you break through, and then you got to weld it, and then you got to redo all the body work. So this is back to square one here. But it's a nice flowing arch now.
Yeah, I spent a couple hours on that, just welding, grinding, breaking through, blending. But I'm pretty happy with it, and if you don't do it now, it's not going to get done.
Right, it's just going to get something he'll always think about, or when he looks at his car, he'll always notice there was a little bit of it wasn't a perfect arc.
It was like a flat spot on there, because if you recall, I took a piece from down here on the parts piece and spliced it in up here.
Yeah. So it'll be nice when all the dust is blown off. The heavy fill primer's on the inside, the outside, and everything's blocked out. The doors are done. Then we'll move to the front end of it.
We'll look forward to a lot more bike videos, because we got to get this thing out of here. It's just in the way. The tractor hydraulics, you want to tell them what happened with that?
So the tractor was working fine, but it had a leaky cylinder. So it took the cylinder in, and they go, well, this one's not that great. Somebody welded the ram together. You could have spun it off in the lathe, taken it off, fixed everything, re-welded it. But he decides to give us a different cylinder and just stuck it on there, thinking that the guy gave us the right cylinder that would match the last one that we gave him. And then go to cycle it, you can tip the bucket this way or you can tip the bucket that way, but one was longer than the other. It went over center, and I'm standing there, and when the link went backward and the cylinder was trying to go, something had to give, and the pivot point and the pins, it just went BAM! And it just shook to hell, and it bent the rod, and then we took the whole thing back to the guy, and now he's going to make a whole new link. It's like about 1.25 inches outer sleeve, and then 1 inch sleeve that these things pivot on. Then you just put pins through it, and it was a mess. So it ruined our whole weekend. We planned on using that piece of equipment to move a lot of stuff, and then we couldn't do it. But we worked on old Dumpy, and we put the whole grill in it, the bumper, around the headlights, got all the lights working, did the interior, and now everything works. And we hauled how many tons of gravel?
It's 32,000 pounds of like road gravel.
Cool.
We'll get some shots of that stuff next time we head up there.
So we figured after we ended up moving all that gravel, how much it cost, and it was like $150. And if we would have just paid to have a quad axle drop it off for $300, we wouldn't have had to done all that work on that dump truck. But we'll have this dump truck for doing stuff, like taking junk to the junkyard and all kinds of stuff. It'll come in handy. But if you're just buying a truck to move gravel and you already have a skid steer at the place where you're at, you're better off just having dump trucks dump off the stuff, because your time going back and forth to the quarry and getting small loads, one dump truck would have made a huge pile. If you ever sand it, it's a pain in the ass. This is the worst thing that you can ever do. In between all these spokes and the corners, on a flat surface on a car, you think that's a pain in the ass. This is times 10. It's terrible.
It's the next day. Got these rims painted. Put more base coat and clear coat over them. Really fighting the orange peel situation. Really pretty black. It has like a metal flake to it. These are pretty difficult pieces to paint. But it is what it is at this point. We're going to move forward with this project. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.